Vanacha Liyamuna Tiara Vanacha Jayarad Hamadava Kunjavihari Jayarad Hamadava Kunjavihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasoda Nandana Bhajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Bhajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiara Vanacha Yamuna Tiara Vanacha Jaya Rad Amadava Kunjavihari Jaya Rad Amadava Kunjavihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasoda Nandana Bhajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Bhajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiara Vanacha Yamuna Tiara Vanacha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So it looks like we have a choice today. We're reading from the 4th canto. We can either read from the 24th chapter or the 24th verse. Why don't we read from the 24th verse from the 24th chapter? That way everyone's happy, right? Let's see here. What? You didn't? Okay, well, sorry about your luck. Okay. The words are up there. Tarhi Eva Sarasas Tasman Nishkramantam Sahanugam Upagiyamanam Amara Pravraram Viduban wait a minute, let me start over. Vidudanugre Tapa Hema Nikayapam Stiti Kantam Trilokam Prasada Sumukam Viksha Pranimur Jata Kautankaha Tari Eva Sarasas Tasman Nishkramantam Sahanugam Upagiya Manam Amara Pravaram Vidu Panugai Taptahema Nikayabam Stiti Kantam Trilokanam Prasada Samukam Viksha Pranemur Jata Kantukaha Tari Eva Sarasas Tasman Nishkramantam Sahanugam Upagiyamanamamara Pravaram Vidupanugai Taptahemanikayabam Stiti kantam trilokanam prasada samukam viksha pranamur jata kantukaha tari eva sarasas tasman nishkramantam sahanugam upagiyamanam amara pravaram vid ubandugai taptahema nikayabam stiti kantam trilokam prasada samukam viksha pranamur jata kantukaha. Repeat. Ladies? Others? Sarvalakshmi? All right. Tarhi, in that very moment, Eva, certainly, Sarasaha, from the water, Tasmat, therefrom, Nishkramantam, coming out, Saha Anugam, accompanied by great souls, Upagiyamanam, glorified by the followers, Amara Pravaram, the chief of the demigods, Vibhuda Anugai, followed by his associates, Tapta Hema, molten gold, Nishkaya Abam, bodily features, Siti Kantam, blue throat, Trilokam, with 3 eyes, Prasada, merciful, Sumukam, beautiful face, Viksha, seeing, Pranamu, offered obeisances, Jata, aroused, Kantakaha, being amazed by the situation. Translation. The Prachetas were fortunate to see Lord Shiva, the chief of the demigods, emerging from the water with his associates. His bodily luster was just like molten gold. His throat was bluish, and he had 3 eyes, which looked very mercifully upon his devotees. He was accompanied by many musicians who were glorifying him. As soon as the Prachetas saw Lord Shiva, they immediately offered their obeisances in great amazement and fell down at the lotus feet of the Lord. We'll read that together. The Prachetas were fortunate to see Lord Shiva, the chief of the demigods, emerging from the water with his associates. His bodily luster was just like molten gold. His throat was bluish, and he had 3 eyes, which looked very mercifully upon his devotees. He was accompanied by many musicians who were glorifying him. As soon as the Prachetas saw Lord Shiva, they immediately offered their obeisances in great amazement and fell down at the lotus feet of the Lord. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The word Vidudangunai indicates that Lord Shiva is always accompanied by the denizens of the higher planets, known as Gandharvas and Kinnaras. They're very expert in musical science, and Lord Shiva is worshipped by them constantly. In pictures, Lord Shiva is generally painted white, but here we find that the color of his skin is not exactly white, but like molten gold or glowing yellowish color. Because Lord Shiva is always very, very merciful, his name is Ashutosh. Among all the demigods, Lord Shiva can be pacified even by the lowest of men, who need only offer him obeisances and leaves of a bael tree. Thus his name is Ashutosh, which means that he is pleased very quickly. Generally, those who are very fond of material prosperity approach Lord Shiva for such benediction. The Lord, being very merciful, quickly awards all the blessings the devotee asks of him. The demons take advantage of his leniency and sometimes take benedictions from Lord Shiva, which can be very dangerous to others. For instance, Vrikashura took a benediction from Lord Shiva by which he could kill anyone he touched on the head. Although Lord Shiva sometimes very liberally gives such benediction to his devotees, the difficulty is that the demons, being very cunning, sometimes want to experiment improperly with such benedictions. For instance, after receiving his benediction, Vrikashura tried to touch the head of Lord Shiva. The devotees of Lord Vishnu, however, have no desire for such benedictions, and Lord Vishnu does not give his devotees benedictions that would cause disturbance to the whole world. So these things tell us several things. Lord Shiva gives the benedictions easily, so we should approach him instead of anyone else. It sounds good. It's just like when we read about the different kinds of happiness. There's a happiness in the mode of ignorance, which is terrible in the beginning and terrible at the end. The happiness in the mode of goodness is like poison in the beginning, and later on, it becomes nectar. So obviously the best happiness is the mode of passion, because it's nectar in the beginning. So that's the best happiness, correct? I'll give you this. It's like the loan shark. He'll loan you money right away. You don't have to sign paperwork and show collateral. So is that better? No, because he charges a big interest rate and he breaks legs when you don't pay. So, my son used to experiment with dangerous chemicals. He was a chemistry major. Now, he wouldn't use them on his own brain. As you have to experiment with something dangerous, you don't experiment on yourself. they would have like a box here that you'd stick your fingers in and it couldn't come out. And they'd mix certain chemicals to see what would happen. So if they blew up or caught fire, it was only a little bit and you don't experiment on yourself. Which is what Vrikasura said. He had a benediction to crack anyone's head. And we shouldn't look at those as benedictions. Just like when we work, the benediction we get is money. And if we're thinking, when I get money, I'll buy myself a fancy car. And then I'll go out and look for the ladies. And then I'll go get intoxicated and hang out in the Ganges with them. Nala Kuvara and Manigriva did that. And they got a real treat from that. Well, they got turned into trees. Is that what you call a treat? Being turned into a tree. There was one country western song. I never actually heard this song, but the person sang, "I'm just a simple man. I only want 4 things in life: older whiskey, younger women, faster cars, and more money." So when we're working this way, we just can't get enough. Because they have pictures of those women that are gorgeous models. Which one of those can men date for a small amount of money? Is that possible? No. They're very high cost because they think the value is high. So if we're working thinking I'm going to do these things, then the result of our work is only painful. But if we're thinking I'm going to give something to Krishna, then our work becomes a jaga, a sacrifice, because we're thinking I have to save something from that. So I guess from that out goes the faster cars and the younger women, right? Because the younger women don't come cheap, right? It's funny, I used to get dirty looks because I would go around town with a younger woman and her baby, and people gave me dirty looks. Until that girl would say, "Dad, look what's over here." And then they'd laugh at me that I was a grandfather. So you can't win. We don't have to impress others. They gave me bad looks twice. First, what am I doing with this younger woman? And then, look at that guy. He's a grandfather. So when my granddaughter got to high school, I thought, am I going to look funny coming with a younger woman? But there was guys older than me with wives younger than my daughter. Did those wives come cheap? They're called trophy wives. They have to pay a lot for it. So people may work in this way or ask Lord Shiva for benedictions. Anybody seen Lord Shiva come out of the water with all of his associates? Nobody saw that? Some of his associates? Is this like a very fantastic thing? Is it? Would it be like the ultimate thing you could see coming out of the water? Somebody, tell me who said this quote and who they said it to. They said, "Have you seen something wonderful within water or in space?" Who said that to who? Who knows? Was it referring to this incident? No? What was it referring to? Who said that? Someone went in the water, and when they came back, someone else said, "Did you see something wonderful within water or in space?" We'll have to see how many hints it takes to get it. This person was going from Vrindavan to Mathura. And this person was sent. Up here we have a picture of how the government was changed in Mathura. See here? This person was sent to bring Krishna to Mathura, because then Kamsa was either going to have the elephant kill Krishna or the wrestlers. And who? No. No. This Akrura. Yes, but Akrura said that Kamsa had all these plans that he's going to bring you to Mathura and kill you. And Krishna and Balaram mildly chuckled. How easy is it to kill Krishna and Balaram? People try. No one ever succeeds. So, when Akrura was taking Krishna to Mathura, with the gopis Happy about this, A. B. Mildly disturbed, or C. Were they like totally despondent and tried to stop the chariot? C. You're sure? They didn't just say, we accept. They tried to stop the chariot. This is what you call service and separation. If Krishna is leaving, we really have to want Krishna. Like when Krishna would go out with the calves, they would watch him and the cowherd boys until finally the last thing they saw was dust. And they would wait that every moment seemed like 12 years or more. And that's a long time. If every second is like 12 years, if they're gone for half the day, how long is that? That's pretty long. Say they're gone for 5 hours. That would be what? 18,000 seconds? So 18,000 times 12 is what? It's like 180 million, roughly. Is that a long time? It is. So as fantastic as this scene is, when Akrura was taking Krishna to Vrindavan, he parked the chariot by these two big trees. And he went in the water to chant his Gayatri. And what did he see? Did he see Lord Shiva? Who says yes? He did. But what was Lord Shiva doing? He was worshiping Krishna and Balaram as Seshanaga and Vishnu, along with all the other demigods. So as great as Lord Shiva is, as fantastic as this is, he comes out of the water, and just like we see in the pictures, was he white color or blue color? What? Molten gold, yes. But they don't often paint him that way, do they? All the information we get is, that's why Prabhupada, when they did the paintings for the books, he was very particular to see what they decided to paint there, because we can't simply concoct. We have to paint Krishna as he is. So Lord Shiva came out of the water. This was the most fantastic thing to see for those people. But when Akrura went in the water, Lord Shiva was there worshiping Vishnu along with all of the other demigods. And yet, some of the people think that Krishna is the expansion of Vishnu. But in the chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam about the incarnations of Krishna, it says, Ete chamshap kalam bhumsam Krishna stu Bhagavan svayam. That there are so many expansions, incarnations, but Krishna stu Bhagavan svayam. Krishna is the original. Now, we don't argue with them because in one sense, there's no difference between Krishna or Vishnu. Krishna is Vishnu with a few extra qualities. But then what is Lord Shiva? Obviously, as great as Lord Shiva is, he was in the water worshiping Krishna. And Akrura said, did you see something wonderful within water or in space? It was kind of difficult to explain what Lord Shiva is. Like someone asked me, can you explain how Krishna expanded into all the calves and the cowherd boys? It can be done mathematically. So is it possible to get a backboard and show mathematically how Krishna expanded into the cows and the cowherd boys? Is it possible to explain this? Is it? It is. But it's not possible by us and to us. They asked Albert Einstein, can you explain the theory of relativity? He says yes, but not in such a way that you would understand it. So this is even beyond the theory of relativity. So if this is beyond what we can understand, then how did Krishna explain it? Who did he explain it to? Who did Krishna explain this to? To who? No? Didn't explain it to Arjuna. Who did he explain it to? Well, let's look at it. Lord Brahma was confused about this. And Lord Brahma is smarter than this because 4 heads are better than 1. So if Lord Brahma was confused, who would be sharp enough to understand this, that Krishna could explain it easily to him? Do we have to do multiple choice again? Was it A, Akrura, B, Lord Shiva, C, Mother Yasoda, or D, Balaram? Which one was it? Mother Yasoda? Who says that? Who says Balaram? He explained it to Balaram because Balaram is the first expansion of Krishna. And what cannot be explained to us can be explained to him. We think if it can't be explained, it's not possible. But this isn't true. Just like if you think you can't see it, it doesn't exist. If that's true, the cell phone can't work because you don't see the microwaves coming into the phone. So he explained this to Balaram. So that scene must have been more fantastic even than this, because Lord Shiva is so great, but yet he was there worshiping Krishna. And so do we understand Shiva's position? Is he Krishna completely, or is he a jiva like us? Which one? You know, they say that Shiva is like milk. Krishna's the milk, and you turn it into yogurt. It's almost like milk, but not exactly. Someone gave an easy explanation. They said, Shiva ate a jiva, but he ate Krishna Ita. So it's kind of like that he's Krishna touched by the material energy. Can you get a blackboard out and mathematically show how that's possible? Is it possible to do that on a blackboard? It is, but not for us. Wouldn't it be possible for Krishna to show it to Balaram? Do you think they'd have great difficulty? No? Or would that be hard for them? Krishna says, with a fragment of himself, he pervades and supports these universes. This is why that's kind of the theory. You look at things like, if there's certain companies, one company has been doing well over the years, the other company has been having difficulties. Which one must be the most organized? The one having difficulties? Just like if we go, there's a hill up here, and at one car we're just going to let it loose. The other car has a professional driver. Which one is going to go more straight, more organized? The professional driver. So, which sounds better as a theory then? That the universe just, scientists realized that the universe had to get bigger. The Christians just think, well, there was creation without much explanation. The scientists say there was a big explosion. We call this disintegrating. It becomes disorganized. And from this disorganization, you get the most organized thing, the solar system, right? Where the planets each go in a more organized fashion than anything else we see. Doesn't that have to indicate that whoever did this is more organized? Can it happen from an explosion? Do you take a bunch of metal and make an explosion and out comes the best kind of automobile? You can take all the used automobile parts, put them together and explode them, and it disintegrates and reforms in the best automobile possible. Is that correct? That'd be a good way to sell used auto parts along with dynamite, but it won't work. So obviously, the thing that's the most organized must have the most intelligence. So our theory is, does it get small and get bigger? It does. The universes come out in seed form and they expand, but they don't explode. This is something different. How does it explode? And then there's so many different solar systems or universes. and all of them have planets that orbit around the sun. Like this, let's see, we'll have to look at it in kilometers because you use kilometers here, right? The Earth is about 150 million kilometers away from the sun. Which would be bad? If it was only 100 million kilometers away, or if it was 200 million? Which of those is bad? Which one? Both. One is too hot, one is too cold. So the fact that it stays in the right range, doesn't that mean someone has to be doing it? So it has to be even more organized. So it's interesting to hear about this. But I tell you, when I hear about the lake and Lord Shiva coming out, it makes me think more that I want to be back in Vrindavan. Because as fantastic as any place is, it's not quite like Vrindavan. There, Krishna, after we have Aghasura up there, right? Krishna went inside the snake, and all the demigods were disturbed, and Krishna shut his mouth. First, the cowherd boys went in. They weren't worried. We don't just venture into large snakes, do we? They talk about these in some cultures, like in England. They were afraid of changelings, people who had changed themselves into different shapes. So that's what these shape-shifting demons are. They're changeling. They can change their body into a different shape. Can you show me mathematically on a blackboard how they do that? Because you can't show it, does that mean it's not possible? He's like, you can't show me how to build an airplane, right? Does that mean it's not possible? Just because it's beyond our intelligence doesn't mean someone else can't do it. So after that, Krishna is going along and he finds this field. And at this field, it's by the Jamuna River, and there's like a little brook there, and you can hear the brook babbling, and you can hear the trees rustling in the wind, and you can smell the flowers like the mogra, champak, and jasmine, and you can hear the birds chirping. You can almost hear them now, right? I think I hear them. We must be in Vrindavan. You can hear the peacocks cooing. And you can smell the lotus flowers also and see them blooming. And Krishna says, let's take our lunch here. And they go out on the white sand, and some of them put their lunch on logs, some of them want chips, some of them leaves, some of them just on the sand, and they all put them in the center. But Brahma's confused. Because after all, somebody might be God, they might be an important person, or they might be a cowherd boy. But it sort of defies logic that someone can be important and also be a cowherd boy. Isn't it? It can't be both. It defies our logic. Krishna can be absolute, but he can't be relative. Krishna can be male, but he can't have female potencies. So Krishna has everything that comes from Krishna. Krishna must have this plus more, because you can't give something you don't have, correct? Isn't it true? It's like if you have water, you can take pure water, you can take hydrogen and oxygen from it. Can you take sulfur from it? Only if it's impure. So all the things that come from Krishna, Krishna must have in a more complete fashion. So here we see the Prashetas are worshiping Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva has his own abode. He's worshiping Krishna. And he's very merciful, like to the people who want to take intoxicants. They chant something before they smoke marijuana. So then it's okay to smoke marijuana. You know, we say, somewhere Prabhupada said, it says somewhere that those who smoke the marijuana called death very near. If marijuana calls death near, then what about alcohol? What about cocaine? What about amphetamines? Then they have heroin. And now they have the new one, fentanyl. People overdose just by touching it. And then people get other drugs and they put fentanyl in it. You know how you protect yourself from that? If some drugs have fentanyl in them, how do you protect yourself from doing fentanyl? By not doing any of them. Because the illegal drugs, they don't come with a label, do they? Like they sell one drug here that's called sugars. It's a combination of amphetamines, which speed you up, and heroin, and the Ratex, because the Ratex has strychnine in it, which makes people hallucinate, but it also kills them. But the label doesn't say how much of each drug, does it? Does it have a label? I'm not sure. I don't think it does. Sugar's this much percentage, this much. So they probably use fentanyl because it's more concentrated now. So do they have people overdosing from this drug and dying? But they don't talk about it a lot, do they? They probably give it to the criminals. That's one way to solve crime, right? Right? You keep some packages of these drugs in your house so that when they rob you, they take them with them. And on it you call it sugar, and they think it's sugar, but it's sugars. Is that a safe thing to do? No, you shouldn't put it in the packaging. My mother told me about the one man was a farmer, and he put the poison in the Coca-Cola can. So children saw that, and they drank it, died immediately. So you never put the poison in a different kind of label. It must be labeled, this is a dangerous intoxicant. So Lord Shiva is so fantastic. And we have to understand about Shiva before we get to Krishna. But Shiva doesn't have the eternal abode. Shiva is worshiping Krishna. And the eternal abodes are in the Vaikuntha world, where we have Rama has his planet, Vishnu has many Vishnu planets, and of course Krishna has his planet. So that's a pretty fantastic vision to see Lord Shiva here. And there's going to be songs sung by Lord Shiva. He's going to chant a mantra. Let's see what else he says. He says here, here's one he says. He's the following song. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, all glories to you. You are the most exalted of all self-realized souls. Since you are always auspicious for the self-realized, I wish that you be auspicious for me. You are worshipable by virtue of the all-perfect instructions you give. You are the super soul, therefore I offer my obeisances unto you as the supreme living being. My Lord, you are the origin of creation by virtue of the lotus flower, which sprouts from your navel. You are the supreme controller of the senses and sense objects. And you are also the all-pervading Vasudev. You are most peaceful, and because of your self-illuminated existence, you are not disturbed by the 6 kinds of transformations. My dear Lord, you are the origin of the subtle material ingredients, the master of all integration. Not disintegration, like the explosion, but integration, coming together. So is he the master of integration? He says, you're the master of all integration, as well as the master of all disintegration. The predominating deity named Sankarshan, and the master of all intelligence, known as the predominating deity Pradumya. Therefore I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. So what things do these prayers tell us? Do they indicate that Lord Shiva is the supreme original personality of Godhead? Do they? Do they indicate that Lord Shiva must be very devoted and intelligent? They indicate that? So if he's very devoted and very intelligent, does that make him the supreme personality of Godhead? Does it make him someone very, very important? Doesn't that make him God? if you're important. A lot of people think they're God. Fortunately, they don't try to keep the universe in the right place, because that may be, as they say, beyond their pay grade. So it's just like Narada Muni noticed something, that Lord Brahma was very powerful, and he was taking care of this universe, or the solar system. But he noticed that Lord Brahma was worshiping someone else. So if Lord Brahma is worshiping someone else, is he the supreme God? Does Lord Brahma have many temples? No, he got cursed. He gets deprived of temples. The only place, there's a temple in Cambodia. I saw this because I get reels. When you put things about Prabhupada, then it also gives you Indian things. And one says in Cambodia, they say this is a Buddhist temple. But it was built before the Buddhist time. And there's 4 heads of Brahma, one on each corner of it. And they say it's a Brahma temple. But they say that if the reporters announce that it's a Brahma temple because Cambodia is Buddhists, they won't let them come back to do more documentaries there. So they always say that it is a Buddha temple, but it's a Brahma temple with the 4 heads. But Brahma doesn't have many temples. He was cursed. But he's not the supreme personality of Godhead. He's in charge of secondary creation, Visarga. And Vishnu does the Sarga, the original creation. And Brahma does the secondary creation. Can someone explain to me how Brahma does the secondary creation? You have the blackboard? No blackboard? Is that why you can't explain it? If I gave you a blackboard and a piece of chalk, could you show me how Brahma creates secondary creation? It should be easier than the primary. So you can show me this? You can't? Who can? With the help of a few others? What's that? Yes. There's a Brahma temple, but they say it's Buddhist. Is that beyond our lifetime? Granted. So are there any questions or comments about this here? So now that we see Lord Shiva is so great, do we worship Shiva for all kinds of benefits? Is there a difference between worshiping the demigods or even Krishna looking for material benefits? We see our books get out to people because there was one famous comedian named George Carlin, and he said, what's the use of being God if you don't know what to do until people pray to you with instructions? I'm God, but I don't know what to do till someone prays to me with instructions. He says that the shopkeeper is praying, please God, make sure that my shop is locked so no thief gets inside. And the thief is praying, God, please make sure the shop is unlocked so I can get in and steal something. And then God is confused by conflicting prayers. He says, what's the use of being God if you need to wait for prayers? You should already know what to do. So there's a pretty weak conception of God, that you're going to give him instructions. And if he doesn't follow them, he may not exist. If you make a phone call or send a letter to Donald Trump asking him how you think he should run the American government, and if he doesn't do that, does that prove he doesn't exist? Does it? You sent a letter, made a phone call, a request for him how to run the government, and he didn't do that. Therefore, he doesn't exist. Just like if you pray to God with instructions and God doesn't follow your instructions, that proves that God doesn't exist, correct? Does it? Or does it prove that He can handle things without you, fortunately. What would happen if God did follow people's instructions? We might be in trouble. So as great as Lord Shiva is, worshiping Krishna is something more intact. Because if we come to Krishna and surrender our life and we're chanting, saying we just want to serve Krishna, are we having a spiritual connection? We are, because Krishna is the supreme spiritual form, right? If you come to Krishna, the supreme spiritual form of God, and you ask for only material things, are you having a spiritual relationship? Are you? No, you're trying to have a material relationship with the spiritual God. Think about that, how ridiculous that is. It's like the jeweler says, first one in the door gets any 5 jewels free. You come in the door and say, do you have any glass? You have a chance to get the real jewels, but you ask for glass. So are you having a jewelry relationship? No, you're having a glass relationship with the jeweler. So we come and pray to Krishna for material benefits. We're having a material relationship with the spiritual God. Dhruva Maharaj got frustrated because his stepmother, Saruchi, said, you can't sit on your father's lap. You weren't born from my womb. You should take your birth from my womb, and then you could sit on his lap. It's funny, I tell people I had a stepmother like Saruchi and an uncle like Dhritarashtra, and I don't need to explain more. That gives a pretty clear explanation, doesn't it? So he got frustrated. He says, I want a kingdom better than my father's. And my grandfather and my great-grandfather. His grandfather was, of course, Manu, and great-grandfather was Lord Brahma. And he wanted that, so he was praying for that. And then when Vishnu appeared, he says, now I just want you. He says, I was looking for pieces of glass, but now I want the real jewels. So when we're smart, we realize that people want everything to go their way, and they make prayers to make everything go their way. Is there a prayer that you can say that makes everything go exactly the way you want it to? There is. You want to hear it? Krishna, today my wish is that everything happens the way you arrange it to happen. And if I put my will in line with Krishna's will, then I get my wish all the time. It's what I'm trying to convince or negotiate with God about, how if I do this, he could do that. Like, he really needs a negotiation. He needs us to do something so that he'll do something for us in return, right? He doesn't need this. So any question or comment here? I'm not the expert on Lord Shiva. I usually read Krishna's pastimes. But everything comes from Krishna, so Shiva's included in that. Can I what? Mathematically, how are we going to explain this? Because he's Krishna, but he's touched by the material energy, and Krishna doesn't become touched by the material energy. This is something that is beyond our level of understanding exactly. Do you think I can really explain it in such a way that you can understand exactly what that means? If he's touched by material energy, how he is Krishna? And if he's Krishna, how is he touched by the material energy? These are things that are inconceivable. They can't explain exactly that he's mostly Krishna, but a little bit different. This is not something easy to conceive of. And I'm not sure how I could exactly explain that. Because he has most of the qualities of Vishnu, but not all of them. It's beyond our understanding. All right, shall we end there? Hare Krishna. The person didn't show up?
No.